Another week here on the Duncan Duo Real Estate Show, like we are every Sunday at 10, talking about the Tampa Bay real estate market. Andrew Duncan with the Duncan Duo team at LPT Realty. I'm excited to be headed to the Oceanside Mastermind with LPT Realty. I'm going to spend some time with some of my LPT family for 3 days this coming week and talk about team growth within LPT. And that is one of the things I love about LPT Realty, utilizing the top teams and agents within the brand to constantly teach, help, and educate other growing agents. So excited to be there next week talking about that and letting other agents within LPT know the things that I've done over the years to help grow my business. When we aren't on air, make sure to follow us on all of our socials at The Duncan Duo, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook. Again, at The Duncan Duo, pretty much every social channel. We're always putting out content on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook about what's going on in real estate tips for home buyers and sellers, as well as a lot of tips for real estate agents. So if you're a real estate agent and you're looking for education, we're putting that out there as well. And if you're a real estate agent struggling where you are, I think a lot of real estate agents right now are looking for something extra, or people that are getting into the business. And I want to explain that what I think is the number one mistake most real estate agents make when they get into the business. If you look at, and I own other businesses, through the years, I've added extra kind of businesses that are extensions of my real estate brand. And I see things operate a lot differently in other industries, but the failure rate for real estate agents is massively high. It's massively high because I think that real estate agents, sometimes think that it's easy, or they see a friend doing well and they don't see what the friend did to get to where they are, driving like a cool car or living in a nice house. They just see the cool car and a nice house, and they think that it's easy. But we have one of the highest failure rates of any industry on earth. And I think that a lot of real estate agents make the mistake of shopping on price, okay? And, I've always said cheap work ain't good and good work ain't cheap. When you shop a real estate brokerage and you look for the cheapest one, you're going to get what you pay for. As a brand new agent, way too many make that mistake, and then they're out within a few years. They're out within a few years because mentorship, leads, coaching, marketing advice, all of those things aren't free. Brokerages have to provide those. And when they're not providing a lot of those things for an agent, the agents go out and fail at a massively high rate, and then they're out of the business within 6 months. Most real estate agents that get their license are out of the business within a year. So if you're one of those agents thinking about getting in, my advice to you, whether that's you joining my team or another team, is to look to join a team environment. Go somewhere where you are going to get support, where you're going to get leads, where you're going to get help and assistance. Obviously, we're always hiring. JoinTheDuo.com. We have a direct mentor assigned to you. We have a massive lead generation and marketing plan, accountability, coaching on deals. And our agents succeed at a higher level than the norms in the marketplace because there's a structure. If you don't want a structure, basically what you're saying is you don't really want to work hard. If you don't have structure as a new agent, you're going to try and do all the things. You're going to try and become a great marketer, a great negotiator, a great shower of homes, a great finder of real estate, great at the contracts. You can't quickly be great at all of those things. If you do, you are going to fail. And that's what most real estate agents do. They go to the place that says, hey, we're going to give you 100% of the commission. Give you 100% of the commission. You're going to go there, and then you're going to be just a number because that's a mill. They just want you to pay your dues, get paid whenever you do a deal, and there'll be a certain number of percentage of people that figure it out, and then that's how they win, is the people that figure it out pay for all the people that aren't figuring it out. But a massive number of them don't figure it out. If you go somewhere where there is the structure, where there's a compensation model that rewards the company or the team or the brokerage enough to be able to provide you all of these things, you don't have to become an expert at marketing or at contracts. You can bit by bit just get great at one thing at a time because the team takes those things off of your plate that you're not going to get good at fast enough or great at fast enough in order to be able to make an income to support your family. So massively high failure rates in real estate. Again, you probably know somebody personally, if you're listening to this, that's failed in real estate. And again, most of the time it is they don't have enough coaching and they don't have enough leads. If you're going somewhere that's promising you that, oh, you've just got to call for your friends and family and your sphere of influence. If you know a lot of people, all those people, they know 27 other realtors. Okay. And those realtors have been in the business a while and sold homes and have success, and they've built trust with that person. For you to win them over, you're going to have to perform, and you're not going to be able to perform on your friends and family because they're not going to trust you enough yet. They already know realtors they trust. So if you're wanting something where you can plug into an existing ecosphere where there's a CRM and a system and a lead generation platform, coaching, accountability, and a massive lead spend, hit us up, jointheduo.com. Again, that is jointheduo.com. We're always looking to add agents. LPT Realty is a great place as well. But if you're new, that's what you need. If you're existing and you're struggling, again, sometimes to jumpstart your career, you need a new opportunity. You need a new place. You need to go deeper. But I'm a firm believer in the real estate brokerage business that you do get what you pay for. If you're going to the place that looks like you're going to get the majority of the commission on every deal, you're assuming you're going to be able to create deals. And most of you, with that assumption, will fail. And that's just math, okay? It's not a personal attack. It's the statistics. The math show us that most real estate agents that get into the business fail within the first year. And the 5-year failure rate is massively high as well. So having done this for 20 years, I know how to coach an agent from zero to hero. We've done it countless times. There are a ton of real estate agents running their own businesses now that started with me, that have built their own teams. So if that's something you aspire to, why not learn it from somebody that's already done it? You trying to recreate that on your own somewhere just isn't great. And I see recruiters from real estate companies all the time saying, oh, we're going to be able to do this and we can do that. It's rampant in our industry that the people out there recruiting have never done what they say that they're going to help you do in their company. Right. So go where it's proven. You're going to get the support, the help, the coaching that you need. Again, that is jointheduo.com. And we are always looking for people that want to work. The key for us is that we don't want the agents that are just going to part-time, hang a license, do a deal here and there. We want people to plug in full-time. Real estate isn't a part-time opportunity if you're going to be successful at it. You need to plug in and spend the time. You need to have a little bit of backlog of money. If you don't have that, and I coach every single person that I can, like reduce your expenses. Make sure that you can handle not getting paid for a little while. These are all things that matter because a lot of people get in and then after a month, they don't have a check and then they get commission breath. And I'm sure every person out there has dealt with a salesperson with commission breath, whether it's going to Nordstrom or whether it's going to buy a car, whether it's somebody catching you on the phone that wants to sell you a home warranty or a car warranty, whatever it is. If you don't get into the real estate business with a little bit of pad and a little bit of money, or cut your expenses down to where you can kind of grind through that period of time it's going to take you to learn, you're going to run off a lot of clients and you're probably not going to succeed because you're going to have too much pressure to earn. The right people that get into the business make a plan ahead of time. They've got a nest egg. They've made the right choices. They've reduced some expense. And they're willing to get through that period of time that it'll take for them to be successful. And I've said this, I put this out on a video recently, that I think now is one of the best opportunities ever to get into real estate if you're doing it for the right reasons and you're doing it to build a long-term career, okay? And here's why. Similar to when I got in during the Great Recession, okay? If you get in now, you're going to be forced to have to work really hard because it's not easy. The transactions are harder to close. It's harder to find buyers. It's harder to get homes sold. Interest rates are higher, affordability. All of these reasons are why it's a deterrent for a lot of people to get into real estate. But if you get into real estate now and you do the work and you go somewhere that will force you to work and be accountable to standards and processes, if you do that, you will establish the habits so that eventually, when the economy turns in a better direction, it'll sprinkle some magic on all that effort and work ethic that you've built grinding it out during a time when it's really tough for real estate. If you get in now and you grind it out and you're successful, when the market turns, you will have the opportunity to earn more than you ever thought in your life, build your own business, all of these things. A lot of people get in when the market's hot because it's easy. Okay. And it's a, get rich quick scheme. They're going to make a bunch of money. And then before long, they're out when the market turns. If you get in when the market's down, you're going to have the right, and you succeed. Okay. You will have a wonderful long-term career because you'll build the habits, the standards, and have the accountability that when the economy improves, your business and your income will skyrocket and you will benefit greatly from the choices that you make. If you get in when it's easy, the market will chew you up and spit you out when it turns the other direction. And that's what we're seeing right now. We're seeing a lot of real estate agents getting out of the business, or they're keeping their license, but they're doing other stuff. They're getting a side gig. They're driving for Uber or Lyft. They're bartending, whatever it is. They're doing that to make ends meet because they got in when it was hot and they never really established the right disciplines or habits because the money was flowing and it was easy to sell a home. A few years ago, anyone with a pulse could have sold a home. Everything was selling. Interest rates were 2% and 3%. Who wouldn't buy more real estate? When it's 6% and 7%, it's a grind and it's hard. And if you can be successful at it now, you will have a very long and prosperous real estate career for the long term. So if you want to build that, now is a great time for it. But you have to go somewhere to learn. You have to be learning based. You have to go somewhere that's going to get you leads. And we offer that. So again, jointheduo.com. We're not the only real estate team. We believe we're the best. I'm biased just because the track record and the ability to navigate agents through multiple markets and help them grow their business as I've grown mine. So hopefully we'll have the opportunity to do that with you. Again, that is jointheduo.com. And I'm going to be back continuing this conversation after a quick break here on the Duncan Duo Show. So we're back here on the Duncan Duo Show talking about the Tampa Bay real estate market. Andrew Duncan with the Duncan Duo LPT Realty. Spent the first segment really talking to the realtors out there not accomplishing what they want or people thinking about getting into the business, and encouraging them to go to our website, register for our career night, or apply for one of our open positions at jointheduo.com. We are looking to grow. I've actually put the pedal to the metal on our marketing spend this year. I've spent more on marketing this year than generally my company can afford, simply because I'm ramping up to grow. I want to provide opportunities for more agents. And I know that 26 and 27 have the opportunity to be incredible real estate markets with things heading in the direction that they're heading. So I hope that's you at jointheduo.com. I had Grant Holcomb from my commercial division on last week. And we had a really great conversation about the differences between residential and commercial. And I joked because as a commercial real estate buyer, and I don't work with the customers as much unless it's automotive, which is usually more of a passion of mine because I have a lot of friends in that space. But I talked to Grant, and one of the things that I find really frustrating about commercial real estate is that the real estate agents that work in commercial don't call you back. Like it's nearly impossible to get a hold of people. And so I want to give out Grant's number. I gave it out last week, 813-605-1219. Again, 813-605-1219, or Grant at theduncanduo.com. Grant Holcomb, Grant at theduncanduo.com, 813-605-1219. Grant will answer his phone. Grant will respond to your text messages. Grant will help you. He has a really broad base of commercial experience, having helped people sell, land for development, churches, industrial, retail, buying, selling, leases, multifamily. He's really done a lot of different commercial things. If you have something really, really, really specific, he can certainly help hone that in. He's got some relationships with commercial brokerages. But the thing that I think that's great about Grant is Monday through Sunday, the guy answers his phone and he responds to his text messages. I can't tell you how many times I've wanted to get in and look at a commercial property as a buyer or get some information, and it's like pulling teeth. I don't know what commercial agents do all day to not be able to ever respond to phone calls, but that's the struggle that I've had. I've dealt with multiple commercial real estate agents, and it's like a broken record, not getting a phone call back or not getting a text or an email when I want information or have questions. So if you want to not have that experience again, hit up Grant, 813-605-1219. Again, 813-605-1219, or Grant at theduncanduo.com. I actually think the commercial real estate is primed for a nice upswing. It really, commercial real estate is really tied to interest rates. There's a lot of discussion about Fed rate changes, and again, the Fed rate is not 100% indicator of what happens to mortgage rates. The Fed rate can drop and mortgage rates can still stay high. But with commercial, I believe that there are a lot of, because money is expensive right now, there are a lot of people putting their money into other investments. And I've started to see more and more people reach out to Grant because they know what's coming. They know if there is a movement of interest rates in 2020, late 25, which that's out there, 26 and 27, and we get back down to a lower rate environment, that the commercial real estate market will do exactly what it did the last time and spike on price. So smart people right now are saying, hey, now is the time for me to jump out there and start looking at commercial, because I might have to pay a little bit more on my rate, or I buy it cash and then do a refi when the rates are lower, but I can get a better deal right now. And that's completely accurate. Grant has negotiated some incredible deals recently for clients. If you were looking at real estate in the commercial segment for the long term, you want to get in now before the rate drops and then prices rise and it's more competitive. When more people jump in, more hedge funds start buying, there's more competition. Some of my friends they're some of the smartest, wealthiest commercial real estate people I know are jumping in and looking for more opportunity right now because they know what's coming. They've been in the business long enough. They can see what's happening. And if that is you, again, Grant can help, 813-605-1219, or Grant at theduncanduo.com. And commercial's been beat up. It has. It's if you look at commercial real estate values, specifically across Tampa Bay, they've been depressed. They've dropped. So as a buyer right now, especially, again, when buying for the long term, you have a great opportunity to negotiate and get great deals. When the market is flowing and rates are low and prices are rising, it's all to the seller's advantage. Everything right now in the commercial space is to the buyer's advantage in almost every segment. There are some segments of the marketplace that are where sellers still kind of drive the bargain. Waterfront stuff, development stuff downtown. There are still Davis Island, for example. There's still some hot pockets, but for the most part, the buyers are in control right now, and they have a great opportunity to lock in equity for the long term, and they have great negotiation leverage that they haven't had for a long time. And I believe that will swing back the other direction, and a lot of people will look back on this time and say, man, I should have bought more real estate. It's funny, having been in this business for such a long time, I remember two periods of time when I said I should have bought more real estate. The first one was the period of time during the Great Recession, short sales, foreclosures. You had a year or two of prices just dropping, and they got so cheap that I should have and again, I did buy a lot. I should have bought even more. I should have found ways to buy more. The second time that I felt like was, and again, I did it here too, the time to buy more real estate was when interest rates got so crazy low, very quickly, that you knew prices had to rise. That was an incredible buying opportunity. And now I think we see that same thing again. The difference back then was your payment, your payment would be lower. That was really the value, but you knew prices were going to upswing. Well, now if we can predict that rates are going to drop, we eventually know that when rates drop, prices are going to head in the other direction. And every single data point points to 26 and 27 having lower interest rates. Again, a lot could change. But if we know that that's coming, now is such a great time to buy. It really is. So again, Grant at theduncanduo.com, 813-605-1219 to get Grant's help with commercial buy, sell, or lease opportunities. And the other thing I love about Grant, because I feel like I don't get this with most commercial agents, he's got a great personality. He's funny. Guy's really funny. Like, he could probably do stand-up comedy. And most of the commercial agents I've dealt with are like dry, very analytical, and Grant has that, but he's also funny. So if you want an enjoyable experience buying or selling commercial, again, 813-605-1219. I'll be back, continue this conversation after a quick break here on the Duncan Duo Show. So we're back here on the Duncan Duo Show talking about the Tampa Bay real estate market. Andrew Duncan, the Duncan Duo team, LPT Realty. So I bought a few homes this week, and I want to remind listeners that, you have a lot of options when selling real estate today. There are hedge funds that buy houses. There's the retail market where you're likely to get more money. And then, of course, there's local investors, of which I am one and have my own fund to buy investment opportunities. So if you have investment opportunities, and look, if you're an agent or a wholesaler, your opportunity probably isn't something I'm interested in. The fees associated, all of those types of things, the control, the my title company not being involved, all of those things are reasons why I have a pretty simple buy box where we want to buy direct from consumer, and we want to buy homes that we're going to renovate and resell. So if you own real estate, maybe it failed on the market, maybe you didn't get it sold, maybe you inherited some real estate, maybe it needs a lot of work, maybe there was an insurance claim. All of those things are reasons why we would look at buying real estate. So I am a buyer of homes. So if you are interested in a cash offer, quick, clean cash, from a local investor that has been doing this for a really long time, has a great track record. I think my reputation speaks for itself. We buy a lot of real estate, and we have a lot of raving fans. DuncanDuo.com. You can go there. You can request a cash offer. Our team will reach out, talk you through the different steps, and then one of my partners will come out and take a look at the property. But we're regularly competing with some of the hedge funds, and I think some of the things that we offer that a lot of the hedge funds don't. We'll get creative with closing dates. We can close really fast. We can also do post-occupancy. We can buy stuff that's got permit issues. We can buy stuff that's got tenants in it still that you want us to take care of. We can buy stuff that needs massive renovations. I'm not a huge fan of buying flood homes because the FEMA stuff is a huge pain in the you-know-what. But if it's, if you're selling it from a vacant land value perspective, I would probably look at it. But we're really looking for, older homes, deferred maintenance, motivated people that just want to move and just want money as quick as a week. So if that's something you're interested in, again, DuncanDuo.com, request your cash offer, and we'd love to have one of my acquisitions associates come out, take a look, and decide what we can do. But speaking of cash offers, I want to kind of explain this from a perspective of the consumer, so you guys see this. The cash offer is not the right call for a lot of people. If your goal is to get the most amount of money out of the property, the cash offer probably isn't the right solution for you, because the person that's buying the home, in my case, my fund, we're going to have to renovate it and resell it. We're not a nonprofit. Okay. I give a lot to a nonprofit. I have my own foundation, but our entity that buys and resells property wants to buy it so that we can renovate it and then sell it and earn an income. Now, if you want max value out of the house, there really isn't typically a lot of opportunity for renovation, okay, or for for profit. It's kind of like going to a car dealership. If you've got a $25,000 car dealership, let's say they'll give you, 70 or 80%, sometimes a little higher depending on the demand. They're going to give you a lower price than what you could probably sell for on your own on the retail market. And that's simply because they're going to turn around and now sell your car for retail. So there's got to be enough of a spread for it to make financial sense for us. We know we can park money in a mutual fund and make a pretty much guaranteed over 15 years. I've got funds that have made me 10+% every single year. So it's got to be a good enough return for it to make sense for us. And I think that's the case for any investor. If you're someone that is focused on getting the most amount of money, though, the cash offer probably isn't right for you. Convenience is really the key. The quickness, the expedience. Think you've got something and you don't want to spend 30 to 60 days selling it, but you can sell it to someone who will take it for the 30, 60 days and take the risk and deal with it. Like trading in a car or taking something to a pawn shop, for example. Those are kind of examples. So again, the retail market is typically right for most clients. We're going to be able to market your home in a traditional fashion, get it sold quickly, and get you top dollar. If that's not what you want and you accept that, convenience matters more than getting the most amount of money and time, then the cash offer is right for you. But a lot of people get it wrong. They're like, oh, I want a cash offer. Well, what's the house worth? Well, I think it's worth $200. Well, what do you want? I want $200. That's not going to work. Like, from an investor's perspective. Now, could there be a cash buyer on the retail market that would pay your price? Possibly. Somebody that wants to buy it to move into it. Somebody wants to buy it because they've got cash and they're focused only on that neighborhood. There are certainly times where homes will sell for cash for retail price. But if you're wanting to avoid the process of going on the market, avoid all the hoops that you have to jump through, there has to be some opportunity for the investor to earn an income, or they simply say, we'll just keep looking for ones that we can. So it's not right for everyone. We sit down and do give you your options, though. We'll say, hey, look, here's what it looks like in a traditional setting. Here's what it looks like in a cash offer setting, and give you your choice. And so if that's something you're interested in, again, DuncanDuo.com, request your cash offer, and would love the opportunity to talk to you about that. Again, to reiterate, I want to kind of explain a few things that we will do that a lot of the funds will not do. Okay. Number one, we will work with you on post-occupancy or really fast closings. Okay. That's something we can accomplish that a lot of people cannot. We will, we'll buy homes without inspections. Again, depending on, where the numbers lie. We will, close quickly or close as long as you want. We can get creative. We can buy homes that have tenants in them. Let's say there's a tenant in the house and you've inherited it and you just don't want to deal with the hassle of evicting them. We'll buy it with the tenant in it and we'll work on evicting them. So if those are things you're interested in, again, DuncanDuo.com, request your cash offer. I want to talk next about the real estate stats in Tampa Bay. And this is, data, that kind of leads a lot of people why they want a cash offer or why they're concerned about the market. So the July stats just came out. They come out typically about the middle of the month following for STAR. And STAR is the Suncoast Tampa Association of Realtors, which is, kind of the combining of all of our counties. And the average sale price in Tampa was $472,610. To put it into perspective, last month, the average sale price was $487,000, a more than 3% drop in the average sale price. Now, a lot of years, there is a June to July drop in the average sale price. That's not that uncommon. It's relatively normal. This is a little bit larger than normal because July starts the end of the peak season. People are getting back in school and all that. A lot of people want to move before that. So our peak prices are typically seen in June, May and June. Okay, that is when we typically see them. So prices $472 last July, $480. So again, off a couple percentage points from last year. When you add inflation involved in that, we are definitely seeing depreciation in our average price points. Now, there are some neighborhoods doing better than others. There are flooded homes pulling that down, of course. But the further we get away from Milton and Helene and don't have more hurricane impact, the less impact they have on prices. So we're still seeing depreciation in Tampa Bay. Like I said, a couple percentage points from July. July 2 years ago, so July 23, $478,840. So we're also off from then. So if you factor in a couple percentage points off in price over the last couple of years and inflation, back in July of 2022, we were $478. So today, again, lower than that. So we've seen depreciation plus inflation of a few percentage points plus higher rates. So again, our market has some pressures that are causing prices to soften and is making it a great buying opportunity. We had 4,344 sales in July. Compare that to 4,917 last year. So about a 12% dip. And then 4,762 in 23, 4,729 in 22. We were in the 6,000 range back in 21. That was peak bidding war season. So since the last 3 years, we've seen annually we continue to see fewer home sales. So fewer home sales, lower prices, great buying opportunity. That's why I think we're building up to 26 and 27 being really healthy real estate markets. But when I talk about these statistics, I want you to understand when I hear people saying, "Oh, the real estate market's crashing," it's not really crashing. It's trending down, but like kind of just a little bit. Like when it was crashing back, during the Great Recession, I sold real estate then. We were seeing prices drop, average prices going from like 220 to 180 in a month. Okay, this is like slight. This is relatively negligible drops, but when factored in with inflation, it is a considerable impact on affordability. So we are seeing fewer home sales. We are seeing lower prices. The average home is taking about 70 days to sell, and we have 4.9 months of inventory, a relatively balanced market. If you were to look at these statistics historically and weed out the great run-up of COVID, okay, when everything was record-breaking, interest rates were so cheap, we were seeing 7,000 home sales in the marketplace, prices were rising like crazy. If you weed that little period out, our market's pretty normal. The problem is that it gets compared to the most recent period of time when we had these sensational 101, 102, 103% to list to sell price ratios, everything selling for a bidding war in days and less than a month of inventory. Okay. So of course, when you compare to that, our market doesn't look as healthy. But if I look historically over my 20-year real estate career, our real estate market right now is relatively balanced. It's not some crazy buyer's market that a lot of people would have you believe. It was a crazy buyer's market in a Great Recession. We were seeing 18 plus months of inventory, foreclosures everywhere. We're seeing a one-off foreclosure here and there. Okay. We've certainly seen an increase in inventory, but it's been relatively stable. We went from, like I said, in 21, we were less than a month. It went to 2, it's gone to 3, it's gone to 4, it's gone to 5. It hit a high of 6 months of inventory at the end of last year, but it's been around 4.5 to 5 most of this year. That's a balanced real estate market. So is it in favor of the buyer? Yes. But 97% list to sell price ratio, again, I was back working in the market when we were seeing 91. Okay. We were seeing stuff massively off of asking price. Just not the place we're in today. It's a stable real estate market. Do I think there's a lot of upside coming? Yes. Do I think a lot of the last year of our market not being as healthy as it could is related to Hilton and Moline, Hilton and Moline. I can't even say them. It's Helene and Milton. Man, I'm so traumatized. So Helene and Milton have certainly had a major impact on our statistics for the last year. I think these stats would look a lot better if it weren't for the hangover from the hurricanes. I think we'd probably be in a similar place with price. But that has drug the prices down. It's drug people moving. It's drug it down. Population growth, all those things probably have just as much of an impact as the overall economic conditions and high rates. So those are the stats for this month. That's kind of my take on it. I believe that we are headed towards a real estate market that will see improvements in sales, but it's probably more like 26 and 27. We may see a little uptick at the end of this year if we get some Fed rate cuts. But I think 26 and 27, potentially with property tax relief, could really drive our real estate market back in an upward direction. Inflation gets under control, rates get softened, and we could be singing a completely different tune in 26 and 27. We're going to be back to wrap up our last segment after a quick break here on the Duncan Duo Show. So we're back here on the Duncan Duo Show talking about the Tampa Bay real estate market. Andrew Duncan with the Duncan Duo team. And I want to talk next to home sellers out there. And this is a real common mistake that I've seen a lot of home sellers make regarding their next steps. And this is what I mean. Home seller, and we just had this recently happen a couple times, so I want to kind of get ahead of it and advise the audience, even if you're not working with me, this is the advice I have for you. Home seller says, I want to buy another home, but I know I need to sell mine first. Let me put my house on the market. Well, when they say they know they need to sell their home first, sometimes they don't really know if they need to. It's just their own financial choices to not have two of them. But they put their house on the market. We go out, we find a buyer for it, we go under contract, then they go out and they start looking at houses. They start with a mortgage lender and they decide what they're going to buy. And then they realize a couple of things. One, either they can't qualify for as much as they thought because maybe their equity isn't as much as it was a few years ago, or two, they can't qualify at all. Now they've got somebody buying their house and they're about to be homeless. So if you're a home seller right now, a lot of lenders make this mistake. A lot of clients don't take this step. If you're a home seller and your home is on the market right now, I want you to call Melissa Rodriguez. Her phone number, she is with Citywide Home Mortgage, one of our preferred, 813-735-9395. Again, 813-735-9395. What she'll do is basically help you understand your buying position, but also ensure that anything that you need to do on your credit or anything that you need to document, you can do ahead of time. When you do this backwards, you put your house on the market, you get it under contract, you go out to look, and then you pre-qualify, a lot of times you're behind the eight ball. You can't get what's done needed. It is more complex to qualify for a mortgage today. And Melissa's going to start coming on the show with me. And I want you to understand that she's a guru at this stuff, okay? So if you need to qualify while you're selling to buy, you should not wait until you go out to start looking at homes to buy. You should work on that qualification now before your home even goes on the market. And if it's on the market and you haven't done it, you should do it now. If you bought a home in the past and you thought, oh, it's really easy, I got great credit, I got great income, it might have been really easy then. Okay. But things are tighter today. Interest rates are higher. Underwriting standards are tighter. It's harder to qualify. Don't let your ego that you think it's a no-brainer and it's easy and you'll qualify get in the way of the right choices. Okay. You might think that you're a slam dunk qualification and then realize there's something you have to do to position yourself in the time frame from when your house sells to when you find the next one. So again, call Melissa, 813-735-9395. Let her know you heard me talk about it on WFLA. You can call, you can text her as well. If your home is on the market, you should not wait to qualify. If you're selling to buy, and it doesn't matter. Even if you're buying a home in another part of the country, Melissa can help. Let's say you're selling here and you're buying somewhere else and you haven't talked to a mortgage lender yet. You should not wait until your home goes under contract to talk to a mortgage person. Okay. You should talk to them. You should 100% talk to them now and get qualified now so that you don't find out like I had happen twice in the last couple of weeks. Customers just thought, oh, it's a slam dunk. It's easy to qualify for a mortgage today. I've done this so many times. But the last time they did it, and all the times before that was during the sunshine, rainbow, unicorn, fairy tale, fantasy land market when everybody could get a mortgage. Okay, it is not that way today. It is more complicated. You have to document more things. I've seen deals fall apart because sellers wait when they're buying somewhere else. Whether you're buying in Tampa Bay or you're buying, in another part of the country, this is a step that you need to take. And Melissa, again, can help with that. You can call or text her, Melissa Rodriguez, 813-735-9395 with Citywide Home Mortgage. She's going to come on the show and be our regular mortgage expert. Pretty much has all programs available, whether you're a VA, FHA, Hometown Heroes, regular conventional loan, doctor loans, business owner loans, no doc loans. I mean, she did a loan last year for a customer of ours that, really had great credit and assets. And I think they basically took in an app and it was like a slam dunk without any documentation. So there are even simple ways to do it. She's got a variety of programs And she's going to start coming on the show soon, and excited to partner with her and have her on. I think she'll add an extra element to bring in the knowledge on the mortgage stuff. But I'm just seeing a lot of home sellers make this mistake, and we had two deals fall apart in the last few weeks because the seller thought that their qualification would be a slam dunk and they'd be able to qualify for what they want, and found out they couldn't quite qualify for as much as they wanted, and then they didn't want to sell their house anymore. So get the intel now. Know ahead of time. Find out what you can do on the mortgage side, on the other side. And look, don't trust some online calculator. I'm telling you right now, there's so much fraud out there. They bump up your costs. There's just a lot of, use somebody local. Again, Melissa will help you with it. 813-735-9395. Avoid the mistake of waiting to get a mortgage qualification until after your home has sold, and then you're out looking at homes and you find this stuff out after you're already under contract. You know how hard it is to get out of a sale contract once the buyer and seller have an agreed contract? It's really challenging. Okay. And it can be really expensive. And unfortunately, you might even lose and have to give up your house to the buyer if the buyer doesn't default or want to let you out. So don't make that mistake. It's a common one. I'm seeing it far too often right now because of people that are used to, things being easier than they are today. So hopefully it's been helpful. All this advice when we aren't on air at The Duncan Duo, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, always sharing relevant real estate information and knowledge. If you want an instant cash offer, hit us up at duncanduo.com, or just get your home value estimate. If you just want to know what your home is worth, you want to sell at some point down the line, again, you can do that at duncanduo.com. Have an awesome rest of your weekend, Tampa Bay, and thanks for tuning in.